in our community, in the black community, masculinity is associated with how many women you have, how many kids you have, how many times you've been in and out of prison.
You could not look at him and say that being intelligent was a contradiction to being black and male.
There is a bit of 50 and a Barack in every black man.
50 Cent had no chance of winning in the realm of hip hop.
Hip hop, movies, all sorts of other things have been active in the process of making that image the dominant image of black men in the United States.
Barack equaled Harvard. Someone like 50 Cent equaled Hood. Hood equaled virility. Harvard equaled impotence. And it made me think about the way manhood had evolved in terms of blackness over a period of time and how dangerous it had become. Gangster rap had begun to shape the definition of black manhood to the degree that it made, certainly I think, middle-class men lose their place in manhood in the eyes of women. Not in a real sense, but in terms of the media image. Because everywhere you went, the image of manhood in every form of creative media came out of that 50 Cent mold. If it wasn't thugged out, then it wasn't manhood. And for too many of young boys, both here in the US and certainly in London, there aren't those male figures, so then all they have to define manhood is what comes out of the small screen or what comes out of a magazine or what comes out of a hip-hop video. The beauty of the presence and the emergence of Barack Obama isn't Barack Obama, it's Michelle Obama. Because in Michelle, for black women, there was an affirmation of their strength could still find them a great guy.
We as white men who very seldom have any real relationships with anybody who's not white, particularly black men, right, believe that black men are what we see in the movies. We believe black men are 50 Cent. 50 Cent is a man who controls people by fear. This is a man that we are all supposed to be afraid of. 50 Cent will come up in here and shoot all of us, take all the valuables in the house, take whatever money we have on us, credit cards, cell phones, all of that, right? This is how 50 Cent makes his living. Black gangster masculinity does the work of white supremacist patriarchal capitalism. All it requires in order for you to be promised that you'll get rich is that you're willing to verbally commit black on black murder, control black female bodies, all in the name of getting paid. The black gangster masculine figure employs the exact same logic as the people who started the slave trade.
I think 50 Cent represents a brand of black masculinity that dates back to the old post-slavery era. During the slavery era, you know, the stereotypes of black men were that we were happy-go-lucky, mostly lazy individuals who really needed the benign tutelage of the slave institution. After slavery, in order to justify the physical violence that would be required to prevent us from exercising our rights, that stereotype changed into the lawless, dangerous buck. That was the idea that was placed on black men. It's almost like a template that they shaded in and said, this is what black men will be now. Barack Obama is exploding the very facile and simple notions we have of what it means to be a black man in this society, whose intellect is one of the foremost things that you will notice about him, who is the antithesis of the angry, out-of-control Negro. When we look at someone like 50 Cent and we read the background, you know, someone born into a drug-connected family, fatherlessness, loss of his mother at a young age, being involved in the drug racket himself, we don't anticipate that being someone who can figure out a way to maneuver through the corporate machinations of the music industry and then take that into advertising, brand marketing, and all the things that he's done. And so it's almost a kind of underdog vitality that you see in both of them, because neither of them, by any reasonable stretch, is supposed to be in the position that they're in now.
Barack Obama has what Duke Ellington has. This elegance that almost in a ninja-type way avoids ugliness with style. When he puts his hand in his pockets and rolls up his sleeves, he still looks fresh. He looks like he has on a crisp shirt every time. His athleticism is important, and it makes you feel like he's fit and ready. There are so many black men that get up and put on a tie and go to work, and then on Saturday or at the club, they're more like 50. We're not allowed to be seen as people who can possibly have baggy jeans and a Hugo Boss suit in the same closet. 50 got something else, and he represents those dudes.
In our community, in the Black community, masculinity is associated with how many women you have, how many kids you have, how many times you've been in and out of prison, how much weight have you sold. And there's always a negative connotation when it relates to masculinity. There's nothing positive. A lot of my friends, who are same-gender loving, they first and foremost say, well, Barack Obama doesn't speak for me, regardless of him being a man or, a black man, because they don't feel that he knows the experience of that of being same-gender loving. But my concern and question was, well, he's first and foremost a black man in America, and that is what you are. So when people see you, they don't see gay, they see a black man.
People should be treated equally on the basis of race. They should be treated equally on the basis of gender. And they should be treated equally on the basis of sexual orientation.
It shows his intelligence. It shows his reverence for tolerance, understanding, and also equality. All those things play a part of what someone is as a man as far as it relates to their masculinity.
Power in America has always been about aggressiveness, what you can take, what you can control. As long as we survive, the survival of the fittest, that's American manhood, manifest destiny. That's what American manhood is. If we define manhood in America as dominating, as being in control, as having power, as taking over, then Barack Obama to some people is becoming successful using that context. But some people may not even agree that that is manhood, period. Barack Obama comes from a different class, a different cultural upbringing than 50 does. He had different things available to him and resources available to him that 50 did not have available to him. To me, if Barack Obama was being a real man, he would continue to maintain who he is. He would continue to love his family. He would continue to hit the fist with Michelle Obama, because that's something that they do. He would represent his community, who he is, his ideals, what he feels for real. And he would use his power and resource to take care of the world. And that's what men do. To 50, he's been a part of the people who didn't have for a long period of his life. And the people that are around him have also been that way, where in order to get anything, you have to fight or die or kill to maintain in these communities. He is an image of somebody's imagination of what African-American men are supposed to be. So 50 is probably a whole bunch of different things. I know black men for real. I don't just know them through the movies or through a rap tape. And I know these men to cry, to love their families, to want to be successful, to be afraid, to have every human emotion possible, and to be weak and vulnerable, but at the same time to be dangerous and strong. I know these type of brothers, and I know 50 is that kind of guy, and I know 50 has to do the things that he thinks he has to do in order to be successful. The problem is 50 can only be rich and be successful as long as he represents that part of what a man is.
As stark a contrast as you find between Barack Obama and 50 Cent in terms of their personalities, in terms of what they present about black manhood and black masculinity, there is a commonality. These are black men who are playing in a game that was not designed for them. And they are playing in a way that has allowed them to be successful against great odds.
50 Cent, the ultimate gangster. Recognized George Bush as gangster. Game recognized game. If you have the ultimate thug, calling the president of the most powerful nation in the world gangster due to his behavior in office, right, of all places, I think it becomes very clear that there are some real strong parallels between this black thug masculinity and what successful white masculinity is.